Welcome to the dojo, and I'm Grandmaster Ray Such. I'm a Grandmaster in Taekwondo and Hapkido. What we did and what we're going to have in this particular show, as well as probably maybe the next 3 or 4 shows, are segments from a super event. And that is the King Cobra Karate Open Martial Arts Championships held in Erie, Pennsylvania. And usually every year they focused around the 4th weekend of January. It's a great event. It's a 2-day event. On the first day, they have team competition. And this particular year, they had teams from Great Britain, which was representing not only England, but Wales. Canada and the United States were competing. And these teams consisted of 20, 25 individuals. And in this kind of team competition, they match up by size, by age, by rank, and it's accumulated points. Very good fighting. So what we're going to do to start off is, what better than interview the individual that started this many years ago, and that is Grandmaster John Barton, and he is the ultimate tournament promoter. And here's his interview.
This is Christina Michelle with the Dojo, and we're back here interviewing Grandmaster John Barton at the King Cobra Karate Martial Arts Championship. Okay, thanks for joining us again.
And thank you very much.
Now, we've had you on the show before, but today we're here at your event out in Erie, Pennsylvania. Can you tell us a little bit more about the King Cobra Karate Martial Arts Championship?
Absolutely. This is our 38th annual, and we do a 2-day event. Friday night is our best of the best event, which is not rated events, but it's kind of a way to break the ice and get rid of the nervousness. But we also host international team competition, and this year we had UK, Canada, and US fight for it.
Yeah, and there was it was really competitive last night, and it was a really close call. Canada took best overall, right?
Yes, Canada won the whole ball of wax, and good for them because we had actually won it the last several years, and it's nice that somebody else gets to go home with the trophy.
Now, how long have you been running this event?
This is my 38th year.
And what made you want to make it international and bring in the other countries to compete against the U.S. and kind of step that up a little bit?
This is how it happened. In 1986, I got a call from Canada, from a UK team that was doing a tournament up there, and they wanted to come down to a U.S. tournament. So they asked me if they can come down. And when they did, it became an international friendship since. So now, almost 30 years later, we're still doing this. I brought teams over there, they brought teams over here, and we continue to do this every other year.
So are you specifically bringing back the same people each year, or does it rotate with, different coaches from the countries, or pretty much a working relationship with the...
It's the same coach.
Okay.
Each year. Different players. Some of the players are the same, of course, but after that many years, it's hard to keep them involved.
Right.
But it's been a great international camaraderie friendship that we always look forward to when they come here or when we go there. So it's been an awesome relationship.
Now, if you could pick one thing that sets your event out from others, what would you say it would be?
Hospitality. I provide a lot for the competitor. Free t-shirts on pre-registration, beautiful awards, and a very well-run event with a very friendly atmosphere. And I think I have a lot of comments that people tell me that this is their favorite tournament.
That's great. Now, where can we find out more about this and about, next year's event on your own website?
Well, yeah, we have www.kingcobrakarate.com, and I advertise the tournament on that, and I don't know how soon I'll have the website up for next year, but I can assure you this, we always do the last Friday and Saturday of January in Erie, Pennsylvania.
Okay, that's great. And is it always at the Avalon?
Well, we're still contracted one more year here, but I'm sure we'll keep staying there. We've been here for 15 years, and it works out great for us.
That's great. Is there anything else you'd like to add about the event or about yourself before we wrap it up?
Well, I'd like to say that this event not only has gone on this long, you interviewed my daughter Hillary Weston and her husband Dan Weston. They are now partners with me, And the reason why they're partners is because eventually I want them just to take this over and continue it for another 38 years.
And then they'll have another generation to take it over from there now.
That's right. And my grandson, Cameron Steele Weston, was born December 31st, 2013. And he hopefully will be our heir to the throne when he gets old enough.
And keep it in the family.
Yeah, exactly. And we're in 2 generations now. 3 would be really awesome.
That's great. Well, good luck with everything, and I hope
you.
the rest of the event's a success. It's gone really well so far, so thank you for talking with us.
I appreciate it very much. Thank you.
Keep watching, and we'll be right back with more on the dojo.
Admit it. You're the one who killed him. You seduced him, gained his confidence. And then when he wasn't looking, you reached into your purse and without conscience or remorse, you pulled out a gun and shot him. And cut. Curious? Visit theindygathering.com, a film festival, and so much more.
Welcome to Movie Outline 3, your first step to a successful screenplay. Movie Outline is powerful screenplay development software for both the amateur and the professional screenwriter, which uses the simple technique of step outlining to build your story, characters, and screenplay scene by scene. With Movie Outline, you can easily plan and customize your story structure, color code acts, rearrange scenes, develop and track characters, format your screenplay, and compare your own story to successful Hollywood movies. Movie Outline is the ultimate writer's tool. Visit www.movieoutline.com to download the free demo today.
In today's world, there is an absolute need to know how to protect yourself. But who has the time or money for lengthy training sessions with techniques you may not remember in a time of need, or which can wind up putting you in even more danger? With Escape and Survive, you will learn effective, easy-to-remember techniques for getting out of dangerous situations. No complicated moves, no expensive, time-consuming training. Just common sense self-defense. Book your seminar today at escapeandsurvive.com.
And welcome back. What we're going to do now is, for the first footage, is going to be the free fighting between Great Britain and the United States. And again, this is team fighting by points, 1 point for each technique, accumulating points for each bout for that particular country. And it's really some good top fighting. And here it is. Again, this kind of fighting is different than your standard 2-minute bouts. This is only a 1 minute, 5 points, or 5 points first. But the duration is 1 minute, so your strategy totally changes. You've got to become more aggressive and use combinations. If you're the one to initiate the fight, or initiate the attack, continue the attack going.
Come on, Jacob.
You know, one thing you're going to see a lot of is like the young gentleman that uses his front foot a lot. You're going to see a lot of that in the fighting. There you go again, right there with the front foot. Now, sometimes front foot can be an attack, but most of the time, front foot is a defensive when the other person is attacking you already. You want to watch the guards too, because with the young fighters, you'll see that the guards go wide open while they're attacking, which is the best time to counterattack. And again, this is Great Britain fighting against the United States. Also, if you're the coach of a team like this, you're going to find out that where you put your certain fighters is also a strategy. Some coaches will put their strength at the end to make up any deficit. Sometimes they'll use their strongest to start off to demoralize the other team. They seem to be staying around a back fist, a roundhouse, a punch, and maybe a side kick. The roundhouse being the most common technique in the lower ranked fights. Now there was a hook. That hook actually went past the boy, so the boy did a reverse punch and got the point. Now that time you saw the green belt was attacking, the orange belt counterattacked. So what happened there was when the green belt was fighting, his guard was open and the orange belt counter scored. You know, it's very hard to teach your student to block while you're attacking. Sometimes we'll do it with a pad or like a padded eskrima stick where the boy is attacking and we're just tapping in at the same time, getting him to block while he's attacking. Very harder, but you'll see that in black belt fighting. And again, really, with 1 minute fighting, you're fighting against the clock. Especially if your team has, you're down 3 or 4 points. You have limited time to get those points back. Now the fighters are getting a little bit older. Over our series of fights, you're going to see all ages, all ranks, and you're going to see the variance in the levels of fighting. There's another hook kick that went too far past the taller boy, and the boy scored with a hand at the same time. Those hooks are difficult if your opponent is moving in on you. It's one of the techniques to stop a hook kick is jam into the hip. A little higher rank now. A little more simple techniques to get their points. They're not throwing, 5, 6, 7 attacks to get 1 point. Now, the one fighter seems to steadily use one stance with his right leg out front. But, be able to change your stance. You're messing with the head of your opponent also. Because when you're only in one stance, you have limited techniques you can do from that stance. But if you do quick changes in stance, he never knows. Well, you'll notice that the one thing the United Kingdom told us was they're used to a lot more contact than the U.S. is. So you'll see a few times where the referees will try to settle the fighters down, and that's from just two different viewpoints, two different countries, and the way they generally accept the free fighting. So stay tuned, and we'll be right back.
This August, come to the film festival where East meets West.
It's an incredible showcase of over 75 films from around the world.
And it's more than just a film festival.
It's a place where filmmakers can gather together with the audience
for one amazing weekend
to celebrate the power,
the drama, the joy,
the magic of independent film.
The Indie Gathering International Film Festival.
It's so much more than you ever imagined.
Are you a filmmaker looking for the location of your next project? Contact the North Coast Film Commission. With small cities throughout Ohio, we're here to help with your film, television, and commercial productions. With low to no cost permits and locations, we'll help stretch your budget. From our production resources to our talent database, we will show you just what the North Coast has to offer. Visit northcoastfilmcommission.com today.
Welcome back to the Dojo, and I'm Grandmaster Ray Such. This next part is, again, in the ring. This is where I usually cover techniques, little advantage for fighting, different things you can do, from fake attacks, you name it. In this particular subject, I'm going to talk a little bit more about the psychological part of free fighting. Something that beginners don't really run as well as the advanced. And it becomes, the more you get into it and the higher rank you get, the more it becomes a sense of strategy, like a chess game. And this is the tips I'm going to give you on that. So here's in the ring. I want to talk about a couple of mental things. You know, it's funny that when you think of the martial arts, so many of the theories of fighting revolve around the yin and the yang, such as a lot of the fighters are kickers or their hands. Very few are both to the same degree. There are stiff fighters, there are loose fighters. There are two types of fighters, an animal and a technician, and then there are degrees between them. The animal, of course, is throwing everything but the kitchen sink at you, trying to get something in. The technician is constantly thinking and setting you up. One of the problems is to find out if a man is based in counterattacking or outright attacking. Taekwondo tends to be an attacker. Ishinryu fighters, Okinawan fighters are very strong. Handmen are very strong in counterattacking. So you only have 2 minutes to come up with what are they. You don't want to rush a strong handman because he'll block and he'll score on you. If you stand your ground and find out this guy is attacking and he's faster than you, he'll score on you. So one way to find out whether they're an attacker or a counter person is basically get into your stance. When they say fight, you just do a fast Ki-op with a stomp, such as like this. See if that person withdraws back, or see if that person starts to lean forward with a fist. And of course, you can tell which it is. The attacker may lean back. The counter person is ready to go in and attack you. So that's one thing you want to find out. And you can find out with that jerk and stomp with the Ki-op to get to him to react to that. The other thing is, the younger fighters, the beginner fighters, and even if you're watching your opponent and you're a higher rank, if the only time he takes that foot off the ground is to kick with it, you've got a notice coming. You know, you've got plenty of time to figure out how to block the kick. But if that fighter now and then lifts his leg up, goes to kick, but doesn't, you know, he may raise that leg up and then go in with a hand. He may take the back leg, raise it for a kick, and then drop it, but not execute the kick. This is something you want to put into your fighting too, to show the person that if your foot comes off the ground, it does not mean you're going to kick. And that's a plus, because then he's always guessing. He may think you're going to kick, react to that when you're really going to use a hand. So remember, you want to find out whether he's an attacker or a counter-attacker. That stomping Ki-op will work. Won't work all the time, especially if other fighters are watching you fight after fight. And two, you want to take that leg off the ground in cocked, kind of like phony kicks, just to show him that just because your leg comes off the ground does not mean you're always going to kick. You keep him guessing. You also want to, you know, establish some of your best techniques. You don't want to get into a ring and just boom, 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 your best techniques. You want to spread them out. You do not want to fight the same in each bout, because above all, remember, you need to watch every fight that's going on in that ring, because every one of those fights produces a winner that may come up with you, up against you at a later time. So you want to see how they score their points. If they are attackers, if they are strong blockers and counter-attackers. These are things you want to know, and that can help by watching the fights, studying the fights. I've seen people go into tournaments that use nothing but a back fist. And by their fifth fight, they go in front of someone, and sure enough, they do a back fist, and the guy falls for it. Now, that was the competitor's fault for not studying that fighter in the ring. I've seen fighters even get to the point making little notes, a little description of which fighter it is and what techniques they scored on and what were their strong and weak points. And when you watch someone else fight, you have to think about how you will counter them, or you should attack them properly. Just remember all these things, and it comes together in a game of chess, strategy, move by move. All of the things we talk about in the ring, all of these things are going through your head fluently, but boom, 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 they just seem to fall in place and work right. And that's what it takes to be a tournament champion. As you can see, there's a lot of mental stuff that goes around, constantly flowing in and out of your mind as you're fighting. And these are things you have to remember when you're in the ring. Next we have it's an interview with a young martial artist from the UK, and I think you're going to like this one. And here it is.
And right now I'm talking with another one of the UK competitors, another student of Eddie Malinowski's, and this is Jacob Boodroy. Thanks for joining us.
Pleasure.
So you are 10 years old?
Yes.
And you are from Wales?
Yep.
And is this your first time to the US?
Yeah, this is my first time into this area of America, yeah.
And did you already compete today, or are you still waiting to compete?
I have competed today.
How'd you do?
I lost my fight, annoyingly. But yeah, I'm pretty happy. I mean, I did my best, so that's all that matters, really.
And is that what you particularly like doing, is the fighting?
Yeah, I particularly like doing fighting. I'm probably doing katas, which is like a sort of a mix of moves into one, really.
How long have you been in the martial arts and doing karate?
Probably about 5 years, I'd say.
And you're one of Eddie Malinowski's
Yes.
students,
Yep.
so what's it like training with him?
It's pretty fun, sometimes scary.
Scary? Why is that?
Just is.
Is he pretty tough?
Yeah.
And why do you like fighting the most?
Well, it's something when you want to let something out, really. I mean, if you want to let something out, you may as well just let it out on someone that you don't really know. But I enjoy doing it because it means I get to relax a bit more.
Now, you said you are going to be doing katas later?
I have done katas.
Oh, you have?
Yeah.
And was that earlier today or was that yesterday?
It was earlier today, yeah.
And how did you do with your forms?
Pretty good, I think, yeah.
Are you more nervous with that than with the fighting?
I'm more nervous with fighting probably because with the forms of kata, it's just a bit easier for me because you know what you're doing, and I mean you don't have to, probably it's easier to lose, but with the kata it's not like winning or losing, it's like
just
doing your best really with me.
And what does the martial arts mean to you?
Pretty big part of my life, really. As I said, I've been doing it for 5 years, but it's still something that I really got to know, and I love it, really.
Why did you decide to get into the martial arts?
Because it looked cool. I think
that's see a lot of karate movies?
Yeah, I think that's probably because, I think that's why everyone starts, really.
And how many tournaments do you do? Do you do a lot of tournaments?
I'd say about 7 or 8 a year, really, and I try my best in all of them, really.
Mostly around where you're from, or
mostly
do you
around where I'm from. I sometimes travel to Bristol and back to there, so yeah.
When it comes to fighting, you said you're a little more nervous with it. What do you think is the most important thing when you step into that ring and you're fighting somebody for the first time?
To not really be scared. I know it might be a bit nerve-wracking for some people, but once you're in and the fighter says go, you might feel a bit weird, but just go for it. That's what I've been doing for the past 5 years.
That's great. Is there anything else you'd like to tell us about yourself or what you do in the martial arts?
Not really, no.
All right, thanks for talking with us. Keep watching and we'll be right back with more on the dojo.
You two have disrupted my classroom for the last time.
What are you gonna do about it? Spank us?
She can't spank us. It's against the law.
Spanking would be too easy. I want to cause more permanent damage.
And cut! Curious? Visit theindiegathering.com, a film festival, and so much more.
In today's world, there is an absolute need to know how to protect yourself. But who has the time or money for lengthy training sessions with techniques you may not remember in a time of need, or which can wind up putting you in even more danger? With Escape and Survive, you will learn effective, easy-to-remember techniques for getting out of dangerous situations. No complicated moves, no expensive, time-consuming training. Just common sense self-defense. Book your seminar today at escapeandsurvive.com.
Well, we're back and ready to go into our next interview. This one is the coach of the Canadian team. Excellent interview. He did extremely hard-hitting coaching and was really on top of it during the competition. So this segment, interview with the Canadian national coach.
And right now I'm talking with Blake Patterson, who is a coach for the Canadian team. Thanks for joining us.
Well, thanks for having me.
Now, you guys had a great start to the tournament last night. You won between the U.S. and the U.K. and Canada. So how is that?
It's wonderful. Yes, this year we came out with the W. We got the win. We come down here every year. Master Barton puts on a wonderful tournament. The camaraderie amongst the countries is fantastic. When we go in the ring, well, we play. We play to win. And this year we came out with the W because America beat us last year and the year before. So
you guys have been getting ready.
Well, it's very well run, very well officiated. We pick and choose different fighters before we get here, right? And so different matches are set up. It was tight. I mean, it's not one-sided whatsoever. I believe the total score at the end of it was 22-20, right? And that's after 8 matches, right? So it is tight. Right, so.
Now, can you tell us a little bit more about yourself and who you are in the martial arts?
No, that is a secret. I'm a ninja. Right?
You want to tell us.
So I've been doing martial arts for 30 years. I've had a dojo over 30 years now. I've had my own club, Patterson's Karate Works in Canada, Burlington, Ontario, for 20 years. Their 20th anniversary coming up in May. The foundation of our martial arts is life skills. Right, and then we use the sport, right, for, competition. But generally, the kids who lose, deal with that and grow. Right. There's a problem today. Kids don't understand how to lose, pick themselves up, and move on. And sometimes parents don't understand that. They want to avoid
Right,
that.
They want them to win everything.
Yeah, I mean, they get, and that's so wrong. There's all these sayings. I'm afraid of children who are going to run our country that have never learned defeat or had a disagreement and had to handle it appropriately. And on the flip side, when you win, if you're going to be a leader, you're not able to brag about your victories.
Right.
Right? I mean, like I said, today we won. Great. Last year we didn't. And guess what? We're coming back next year, and we know what we're going to face. So, king for a day, and then you move on.
And how many years have you been involved with this event specifically?
This event specific? Well, okay. So I used to come to this event as a teenager. So that's 25 years ago. And I took a bit of time off raising a family, and it was my children, who are now 12, 11, and 9, they wanted back into tournaments. So I got back on the tournament circuit and developed the team again, and we've been traveling, and I've been here for the past 5 years.
That's great. And how many students are on the team?
That came here?
Or that compete with you in general?
We had 18 students that came from my dojo, Patterson's Karate Works, but then there was another 9 students from Tony Rampula's Martial Arts, which is in Georgetown, in Ontario. So as a bit of a Canadian contingent, and we came down. And then, a staple in Canadian karate, Mike Bernardo, one of his black belts, he trains with me now, and he came down as well. Jeff Muir, right, did a wonderful job for the team. So, but in total, our team can range anywhere from 40 to 50 students, depending on where we go, or, who's training and who's taking time off.
Right.
So, yeah.
And how do you select which students are going to, come this far of a distance to a tournament? Is it they ask to do it?
It is the
they
beauty.
Need to be...
I'll let you finish, Sora. It's the beauty of martial arts over any other sport. I know I do it, so I might sound like I'm biased. I guess I am. We take students who are interested and want to grow as a martial artist. They're like, I want to try a competition. Great, join the team. And you start to learn about competition, the competition mindset, which is win-lose. Right. Don't make excuses and don't brag. Those are the 2 things. And then you're going to go and you're going to grow. You're going to see what other clubs do. And the beautiful part about our sport is you've got recreational martial artists doing their first tournament. You've got travel team martial artists that are here. You've got the rep team. Very similar to hockey, basketball, and soccer. They have all these different stages. You've got the professionals here, right? Our NHL is here, right? If you want to, our professionals are here. And then our old timers, the guys who used to be professional, well, still professional, but
we're coaching it.
We're coaching, but we're also competing. There's a bunch of us 40-somethings that'll be off in a corner.
So you'll be competing today as well?
Oh, yeah. Well, for the team, they want to see me. And really, when you get to have a match against, some guys that you played against or fought against, 30 years ago, it's fun. We don't need judges. We know who won, and we don't care. We're just out there, pretending we're young, having a good time.
Now, you said as far as the children are concerned, they need to learn how to lose and how to, kind of win with grace.
Absolutely,
and, like you said, king for a day. But what would you say is the most important thing as far as tournament fighting and competing? Is it the confidence that
be first?
What's that?
Be first, score first, right? Okay, tournaments. What's your question? How to win a tournament, or
what do you think is the most important thing when you're first getting into a tournament? Is it the confidence that
it's
you can do it?
It's growing the confidence and having the proper support team around you. Sometimes I hear parents saying things like, "Get them," and I think, "Oh no! Let the judges, let the coaches handle all that stuff." The biggest thing is. A child is learning confidence when they don't feel confident. It's like if you run as fast as you can, at the end of that race, you're going to feel very, very tired, like you're the slowest runner on the planet. You're a turtle. And that's when you're getting better at running. Not when you feel fast, when you feel slow. You do push-ups. Those last few push-ups are so hard. That's when you're getting stronger. So it's the opposite. So when you're out there in competition and your guts have just gone to mush and you feel like the smallest thing, why am I here? Why am I doing this? That's you actually developing your confidence. And when you put yourself through that, you can't stop the smile because the smile is internally generated. It's the self of self-esteem.
Right.
You're not doing it because mommy says you're good. You're doing it because you feel proud about what you did. And that, I think, is why everyone should do it.
So is that what the martial arts means to you? Is, it's a confidence booster?
Oh, huge. I say always, you're going to be the nicest guy no one ever wants to mess with. It's superhero training, right? Superman's super even when he loses his powers.
Right.
Because of his character.
Now, do you have a website where we can find out about your school, about yourself?
Yeah, you know what? I'm actually the worst promoter on the planet. I do. TheKarateGuy.com, right? That's me. And in that is Patterson'sKarateWorks.com. We have a tournament. Actually, the promoter, John Barton, good friends with Army Rizzo from Ontario, 38th Annual Ontario Provincial is happening February 22nd up in Burlington, Ontario. It's 38th Annual, same as John.
So
right, or John Barton. So
year?
it's very. Well, you got to talk to those fellas about who started first, right? I think it's a pretty funny conversation. But yeah, that's the Karate Guy is there for .com, and that's my bio, and it's pretty simple. Been in a lot of tournaments, won some, lost some.
Is there anything else you'd like to add before we wrap it up about yourself, your school?
The one thing I'd like to add is the Erie, Pennsylvania. The people in this town, the way they treat our team, it's wonderful. All of us up in Canada, every time I go back, I say, listen, you're missing the boat. You got to cross the border, right? America is so fun. You have to go get out of Canada and go enjoy it. And Erie is one of those regions we come to every year, right? Because of the people.
That's great. Well, good luck later today when you compete, and thank you so much for talking with us.
My pleasure.
Keep watching, and we'll be right back with more on the dojo.
Cleveland Academy for Self-Defense is Northeast Ohio's premier martial arts school. Located on Cleveland's near west side, we teach several martial arts disciplines, specializing in Taekwondo and Hapkido. As taught by Master Ray Such, students of Cleveland Academy learn discipline, formal martial arts training, and real-world self-defense techniques. Classes are available for children and adults. Cleveland Academy for Self-Defense, the home of champions.
Admit it. You're the one who killed him. You seduced him, gained his confidence. And then when he wasn't looking, you reached into your purse and without conscience or remorse, you pulled out a gun and shot him. And cut. Curious? Visit theindygathering.com, a film festival, and so much more.
And now we're going to go to the other side of the coin, and that is form competition. Kata, empty hand, weapons kata with weapons. And we're going to start off doing black belt weapons kata, and we're going to focus on the use of the bow, traditionally the Japanese weapon. And when you compete with the bow, there's always that, well, with almost any weapon, there's a degree of difficulty to control the weapon. A bow would be a mid-range control. What comes into effect for competition is if you go to maximum speed with that bow. It's called gambling. You go maximum speed with the bow, you don't lose control of that bow, you get a good score. If you're too careful and slow with the bow, controlling it too much, the score can be less than somebody going faster. And here's black belt competition using the bow. All right, today we're going to be showing 3 bow forms, and this of course is in weapons competition. Weapons are an extension of the body. So again, the stances, the blocks, the kicks, anything that goes along with the weapon is also included. You know, judges must remember that the weapon is an extension of the body. You know, a lot of kids want to get into weapon work and they really don't have the foundation in their stances, their kicks, to be able to do it. But the stances and that come first, weapons come second. Now, all 3 you're going to watch our black belt competition. A bow is a staff, and it's a very general weapon used in competition. The X factor, of course, is the speed of the bow. The more speed, the more chance of losing control of the bow. And this is something also that judges take into effect for their scoring. To go extreme speed, keep the control, keep the stances, is definitely a plus over someone being careful with the weapon. You can hear the snap of the bow into the uniform, which is also signifying the snap at the other end of the bow. Again, bow is a mid-range weapon. I would probably say one of your easier weapons are the tompas, where you can constantly hold on to them. Bow is maybe a little higher mid-range, whereas if you go into extreme difficulty on weapons, You're talking about things like the three-sectional staff. You're also talking about iron whip, the Chinese iron whip. These are things that are extremely hard to control, especially the three-sectional staff. And then, of course, the harder the weapon, you pull it off, you have better chances for getting a higher score. The simpler the weapon, as an average, a little bit lower of scoring. You'll notice too that some people that are Taekwondo will pick up a weapon for competition even though it's not part of their art. Talking about the judges too. The judges, in today's world, there's a lot of tournaments that go for the flash and the pizzazz and the flying through the air and the cartwheels and spinning and jumping and turning in the air. This is more of a non-traditional form, a competitive anything goes form against these three, which are traditional forms. Now, the pro and con for that is who's your judges. If the judges are traditional stylists, they will definitely go with the traditional forms. And some of the bigger tournaments will actually separate them. They'll separate the traditional forms from the, if you want to call them, showbiz forms. This gentleman was so traditional, being Ishinryu, that he actually spoke in Japanese when he presented himself. And one other thing about the bow is the actual bow itself. Some bows are very thin, very light, and they're meant for speed, and not reality a weapon. Other bows are much heavier, traditional style bows, but it can really take a tear to your body if you're snapping those in, and it takes a lot of skill to get the same speed from a heavy bow. At some competitions, the competitor will actually present his weapon to the judges so they can inspect it. So if it is a very light bow, meant for speed, they understand that. So it always varies. Can never go wrong with tradition. Nice form. I love watching the weapons competition. And again, I'm a Korean stylist. We don't use the bow, the kamas, the tonfas, but you use that skill of training and expertise to be able to judge it, because your form, your stances, your movements, all of the fluency of a weapons form can be judged by any stylist. So I enjoyed that. Now we're going again to one of my favorite parts, and that is Christina Michelle with a minute of self-defense. This one is against an attacker reaching out and grabbing both your wrists to pull you wherever he wants to go. Christina will show you what to do.
Hi, I'm Christina Michelle. This is common sense self-defense. And using your common sense, your freedom is the first issue. First, stiffen your arms and open your hands. Second, push out against the attacker's grip. Then bring your hands together into an open clap. Next, bend your elbows down. The last thing you're going to do is quickly snap your hands up towards one ear. When clapping your hands together, make sure you have them in an open clap and your fingers are not laced together. We are not viciously attacking, kicking, striking, causing a fight back. So what you do is execute the technique, obtain your freedom, and flee, and get help.
It's about the segments we have for today, but in the next 3-4 episodes of the Dojo, we have a lot more footage, an extreme amount of footage of fighting, forms, empty hand forms. These are things we're going to be covering in the next 3 to possibly 4 shows. And again, please, if you have a tournament coming up, let us know about it. We can send a shout out on the show about events coming up. If they're close enough to us, we'd love to attend the event, film it, and use it on episodes. You can also do a little short interview at your school, about your instructor, about your school, and contact us, and we can have you upload it to us and use it on a segment. So all of that can be found at REEL, REEL, TV Network.com. And that's about it for today, and I hope you come back, and I hope you watch our other episodes on this fantastic fighting from King Cobra Karate. There's going to be, like I say, 3 or 4 more shows, so please look forward to the next shows coming up. Until then, keep kicking.